All right, we're back with a very special edition. Our guest is, you know him, you love him. He is the guitarist, songwriter, founder, all that. Lillian Axe. Please welcome Steve Blaze.
How you doing, my friend?
Oh man, it's all good, man. Talking sports and music, you can't go wrong. Grow, grow,
Absolutely, man.
growing up, I loved,
Yep.
uh, I loved how, you'd see music on TV and then you'd form a garage band and then you watch sports on TV and you go out in the front yard and start throwing a ball around, man. There's a lot of parallels when I tell people, how to go for it in music. I use a lot of sports analogies and I'm sure
Right.
you can relate to that because the focus, the dedication, the just tenacity.
Yeah. It's the same set of disciplines, just performed in different ways. But yeah, the dedication to being able to take the ups and downs and the hits and never losing sight of the goal, So
Yeah, yeah.
uh but
Well, of course, Lillian Axe, long time, band. By the way, again, what year did you form?
uh officially I like to say it was 83. Um
83.
1983, yep.
So we
Halloween
we
night.
are
That's kind of
more we are
Yeah, we were
surpassed your
we were
40th
still
anniversary.
we were still, playing around. We were like Lily Nax for maybe 6 to 8, 9 months prior to that. We changed the name from Oz to Lillian X, but the original four lineup that became solidified and really started to make waves was 83 Halloween night. That was me, Johnny Vines, Michael Max, and Danny King. So that's where I like to, you have to pick a date. I would say it'd be Halloween night 83.
Okay. So we are recapping, of course, this great tour you went on and about how many days was it?
I believe 14 dates.
14 dates.
And
It's
I
girls'
think there was
school.
one day in, one day off, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Girls' school, Alcatrazz, and the one and only Lillian Axe.
Yeah.
Had you played with either one of those bands before?
No, no, I hadn't. As a matter of fact, um, two of the guys in Alcatraz, um, Jimmy Waldo and Gary Shea, were
Yeah,
both in a band called New England, who I
of
was a
course.
major fan
Yeah.
of when I was in college and high school. And they were
Yeah, they
two of the
toured with
original
Kiss
members.
and all sorts
Oh
of people.
yeah, yeah. So, but Gary Shea, he showed up for one show, but he doesn't tour anymore. He's still in the band, but he doesn't tour.
Is that
But
right?
Jimmy, keyboard player, is still touring, and he and I
Yeah, I
got to be
interviewed him
good
recently. I
friends.
blew his mind, man, with all the memories and events that because I actually interviewed Gene Simmons backstage in '79 on the Dynasty tour, and they were the opening act. So,
Yeah, I saw
what?
them on that and opening for Kansas too as well. But I was a huge fan. I mean, I know every nuance of those three albums that you could possibly know. I just the first album especially. That was a soundtrack to
Yeah, don't
my
ever want
first
to
year of
lose you,
college.
man.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, that
and
band shot
Gary came
huge.
out to I think it was in Atlanta. He
Okay.
came out like one of the first shows, and he and Jimmy and I and Brent, our singer, um, our drummer Wayne, and Giles, the singer for Alcatraz, we all got up and did "Don't Ever Want to Lose You." We didn't even rehearse it. We just got up and kind of winged it, and it was a nice moment, man. It was really cool.
This is
But
in
yeah,
this is in their set.
yeah,
Oh
yep,
wow.
in our set,
I
yeah.
probably most of the
So
audience is like, "What the hell is this?"
yeah, until we start playing, then I'm like, yeah, I remember that song. But it was great. That's Giles, the singer for Alcatraz, is actually our manager, and he sings for a band called Warlord too, but he manages all three of the bands, and he
Oh wow.
became the lead vocalist for Alcatraz right before the tour started. So um, that's the only way I knew. I never. We had opened for Girls' School like a few years before we got signed, like in 84, 85 in Baton Rouge. We had opened up, and then that was, when we were just starting to spread our wings and do a lot of playing and stuff. We had opened for them a long time ago. That was it. I think I'm the only one between our band and Girls' School that even remembered that, but I have a good memory sometimes. So, but that was it. It was a great tour. We had a blast. All the band members for both the other bands were fantastic. And
Well,
we're
it's
gonna.
good you had, you know, Giles in the middle, man. He kind of the glue amongst all three of you. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
interviewed,
Giles is great. Giles is great. He and I, we have a very similar love of horror movies. So we're always trying to impress each other with the most obscure, weird horror movies we can. And of course, on the tour, it was so freaking hectic. We didn't get to do anything. Uh, but you know, he manages all the bands, and he's a singer for Alcatraz. So he had his hands full. But it went really surprisingly smooth, to be honest with you. Um, you know, no, it was the
is it the
smoothest.
same agent for all three acts?
Yes, Tone Deaf
Okay.
touring, and that's Angela Mapus, and she did a great job. Really nice lady to work with, and you know, she's got the West Coast tour getting ready to start in October. We're going to do, I think, 15 dates there too.
Oh, great.
So it'll be same lineup, same scenario. Just going to hit the other side of the country. So we're up. We will have done around 30 major cities by the end of the year, which is good. A lot of places we haven't been to in a very long time, so it was cool.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I interviewed Kim before the tour, and she was real cool talking about the history of Girl School, and I guess they are calling it their final run. Sometimes you kind of wonder, you know, is is it real?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you're like, God, I'm surprised you made it this far. You know, it's just such a brutal
Yeah.
business, you know. And I know coming from the UK, it's you got a whole nother set of you know, challenges and hurdles with the you know, the paperwork and all that.
Yeah, getting the visas, and they don't drive, obviously. So you know, they had to have a driver. I was
Yeah,
like, nope.
those limeys, man, and don't trust them. They drive on the wrong side of the road, you know.
Exactly right. So, but
Jeez.
yeah, they had a good driver. My boy Lolly, who was our tour manager years ago and close friend, he took care of them, drove them, and wound up kind of taking over as tour manager. But it was the smoothest tour ever as far as hotels were concerned. And I mean, you know, on tour, the worst part of touring for me is the hotel situation. It's like going to the airport, like flying. Like while I'm in the plane, I don't necessarily like flying at all. But the worst part of the whole thing is the hours that you and the tedious things you have to go through at an airport before you even get on the plane. I hate that with a passion. Um, so, but fortunately, the hotels were so well taken care of in advance that we were in and out. You know, we show up, keys are sitting there waiting. Didn't have to hang around, wait for this, wait for that, wait for paperwork, and that was because of Karen Darnay, who is she's my personal assistant, but she works for Lillian too. Does a lot of promotional stuff for us, and she handled all the hotels. And it's in 40 years, it was the smoothest, most well-run hotel scenario I've ever been in. So,
Yeah, you
but
gotta get your sleep, man, on the road. That's for sure.
well, there wasn't much of that on this one. I'm going to be honest with you. It was really, I think we did like 6,000 miles. And it was tedious because we never stayed like in the city we played. You know,
Oh, is
everybody's
that right?
adrenaline.
You get on the road right after the show?
Yeah, we get on after and go an hour or two out. That way we got some of the drive taken care of while everybody's still kind of jacked up a little bit because the shows were usually over, you know, doing the theater shows like that, they'd be over by midnight. I mean, there were times where we were actually in the vehicles moving out at midnight, which is unheard of. So that worked out really well, but it was very well done. You know, it's just a lot of craziness, but um, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time, man.
And how many years has it been since Girl School played here?
Gosh,
Did
you
they
know what?
say?
I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm not
Okay.
exactly sure. I want to say 10, 15, something like
Oh,
that.
wow. Okay.
I'm not exactly sure, but I
Yeah.
know it's been a long time.
And I'm looking at their set here: Demolition Boys, Come On, Let's Go, The Hunter, Guilty as Sin, Future Flash, Kick It Down, Nothing to Lose, Is What It Is, Up to No Good, Race with the Devil, the cover of the Gun song, and Bomber, the Motorhead cover, Emergency and Screaming Blue Murder. So, yeah, like
They were great. They were solid every night. We had a blast.
yeah, and
Eh,
of course, there's
eh,
been a few band member changes in the group, but Kim's always been in it, and Denise, and
Yep.
you know, it's not easy, like they say. It's hard enough for the boys to be out there, but the girls, I remember she would laugh when I'd ask her about touring with Motorhead. She said, "Oh man, it was crazy." Obviously there was some heavy drinking going on and stuff back then.
Oh, I can. Let's put it this way: when you're doing the tour like we did, there was no drinking. If anybody would have been drinking, they wouldn't have made it through. I mean, it's like
Right.
unless they were doing it in private, because it was. I'm not kidding you, man. It was just nonstop. Um, but that's good. I'd rather
Yeah.
do that. I'm not really big on days off when we're on tour. I like to, you know, take advantage, unless it's someplace we really want to see that we have. But just sitting around in a hotel on a day off or traveling. And in our case, the 1 or 2 days we had off, we were long drives. So, we had no choice. But hey, that's
Yeah.
what we
Well,
signed up
at
for
least they,
many years
yeah,
ago.
at least they routed it right where the long drive was a day off. So,
Mm-hmm.
Alcatrazz, of course, their set Little Viper, Too Young to Die, Too Drunk to Live, Hiroshima, Turn of the Wheel, Jet to Jet, Sword of Deliverance, Battle Lines, Island in the Sun, Don't Get Mad, Get Even, Bring on the Rock. So, obviously, Jimmy Waldo is the longest tenured member, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because, yeah, like I told you before, I used to manage Steeler, and Yngwie Malmsteen
Right.
jumped out of our band over to Alcatraz, and I was a promotion guy. That's what I've done for the last 50 years. So I was
Right.
already doing promotions for Rockshire Records. So he joined Alcatraz, which was Graham Bonnet, Jimmy Waldo, Gary Shea.
Right.
I guess there was a drummer. There was a drummer. I don't know if that was Jan.
There
That
was a
was back
drummer.
then. It was a crazy time, but of course the tales of Graham Bonnet and pulling Ingve's cord out on his way out to a break in the bus. I'm sure you've heard that too, where
Maybe
Ingve's,
that's where Ingve learned how to do all that stuff from
yeah, he
Graham Bonnet.
stormed the bus and he's like, "Don't you ever do that!" And I think they left him on the side of the road, or the perennial one-way ticket back to L.A. Graham.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy back then. Um, but now you guys, obviously, you guys hit them hard. Misery Loves Company, Deep Freeze, Stop the Hate, She's My Salvation, All's Fair in Love and War, Ghost of Winter, True Believer, Show a Little Love. How did you come up with the set? What was that like?
Well, there's certain it's tough when you have so many records. That's the hardest thing. So we wanted to, I mean, when we're going to places that we haven't been in a long time, we obviously know that we have to. There's certain songs that if we did not play, that we probably wouldn't be able to get out of there alive.
Right.
So we recognize those: Show a Little Love, True Believer, Ghost of Winter, Misery Loves Company. So we try to fit in the ones because uh, when we do like Stop the Hate, we hadn't done Stop the Hate in a long time. We brought that out with She's My Salvation. This was all new stuff that we just started doing this year. And we tested it out. And there's probably about 50 or 60 songs out of our catalog that we have played live over the years. Out of probably half of them we haven't. Maybe in our existence, maybe only about 20 or 30 we never played live. So we always keep we have a big list to pick from, but there are just some things that just the ones that you have to take and play for people, or you'll be very upset. Now that's the hard thing to do because there are a lot of bands that feel like we're going to play what we want to play, and there's a part of that makes some sense too because look, I played Misery Loves Company 40,000 times in my life. I
Yeah.
still enjoy it though. You still have to find that enjoyment in presenting the song, even though the mechanics of playing the same chords that you played so many times could be tedious, but knowing it's the reaction you get from people. And some of these cities we hadn't been to in forever, a couple we'd never been to ever in our existence. So, you want to give them the songs that, even though you may be tired of them, they're not, and they don't ever get tired of them. If Led Zeppelin went out and didn't play Stairway to Heaven, it would be a massacre, um, so we realize that. So we have a fine line between what we think are our favorites and the ones that we need to play for people. And that's how we did it. It's just very difficult, especially when you're doing a 1 hour set.
Did you change up the set at any point? Were you kind of feeling the audience and like maybe we should switch this around, or did it work out where it's the same set the whole way?
It was the same every night. The only thing we did Letters in the Rain in Detroit the last night. That was the only thing that we added into. So just on a whim, let's do that tonight. Okay, good. So we rehearsed it at sound check, get it fresh, and that was it. The rest of it, it was like clockwork. See, we have segues, musical things that tie the songs together live in between the songs. It's not a lot of just vocal chatter and that kind of stuff. It's like one long piece all the way through. Brent talks maybe once or twice, but everything just flows right from one song into the other.
Mm. And obviously you guys rehearse on a regular basis, but was there any special prep you did before you headed out?
No, that's one thing that we rehearsed one time. Everybody in this band stays on continually. When we know we've got shows coming up or we're getting ready to go out, everybody does their homework at home. They're well prepared when they get to rehearsal. So, we'll get together, we'll run through the set a couple of times. We're fortunate that it's like warming up for a baseball game. Here we go, sports analogies. It's like just warming up. Your skill set is there. Just got to get the arm warmed up. I just got to stretch, be ready, take a little batting in the cage just to get warmed up. That's kind of how it is. Now, if we add brand new things, especially like after the new album came out last year, we added some songs from that. Of course, we had to, rehearse and do it, go through it 8 or 10 times, make sure we're all comfortable, work out the kinks, the harmonies, and make sure everything was good. But that's the great thing when you're playing with seasoned guys, they show up ready to go. You don't have to. I mean, there've been times when we do a song we've never done before, and like 1 or 2 times in, it's spot on. So I like being prepared.
Yeah. Well, no question about it. Like you say, I know some of the cities you hadn't played in a while, so you gotta,
Yeah.
kind of politic. And was there a chance to meet some of the fans before or after, or was
Oh, absolutely. That's one
okay?
of the things that we love doing. And believe it or not, I mean, I love. I mean, I walk through the crowd when ALCATRAZZ was playing a girls' school. We'll walk around, and I'm not trying to I'll stay to the back because I don't want to have people like right in the middle of the crowd turn around and talk to me. I'm being respectful for the bands, but I go out there as a fan, and we'd be out playing, and all the guys and girls in ALCATRAZZ and girls' school would be out in the crowd. We look out and see girls' school out in the crowd. Their favorite song was "I Am Beyond." They come out every time we played that, and they'd be out in the crowd singing. It was great every night. So one night, I think we even brought them on stage to sing it with us. And I like that. I like being out in the crowd. I like meeting our friends and our fans. And I mean, that's one of the most enjoyable things because each one of them has their own unique story. And they show you, memorabilia, and they tell you stories about what your music did for them and how it relates to their life. And that to me is an honor. So when I hear those
Sure.
stories, and how many people over the years have told me that, our songs have saved their lives or gotten through some of the most difficult, dark times in their life. That's huge, humbling moments for me, so I enjoy it. And I've signed anything they've got, that's important stuff to all of us. And my band is very good about that. I mean, we will stop in the middle of whatever we're doing and make sure that we accommodate somebody.
And of course, you can't get sick on the road because you're in such tight quarters. Everybody
Oh
gets
yeah.
sick. So I know you said no drinking. That can lead to somebody catching a cold or spreading it around. Anything else you do to try and keep everybody healthy?
Well, we're lots of vitamin C and fruit and vegetables and that kind of stuff. But on this tour, I would say half of us were sick for most of it. I was sick for almost the entire tour. If you listen to some of the videos when I'd go live during that tour, I could barely talk. Um, but we had several of us that were like colds and sinus and like flu symptoms and stuff. It was kind of rough, and I think a lot of it just had to do with us being consistently moving and not getting enough rest. Because my voice was like, I mean, I had people laughing at me, go, man, you sound like Darth Vader, and then, but come showtime, you know, it's all put aside. It seems to come back at showtime, and you're okay. And you get off stage, and it's like, hi, how you doing? But there were a bunch of us for all three bands that were, you know, struggling, uh, sickness wise during that run. And you are in close quarters. You're moving with the same people. If one of you gets sick,
Oh, man.
pretty much at least a couple of you close by are going to get that way. But we take care of ourselves, rest as much as we possibly could, sleep when we're traveling, eat and drink as much as good stuff as much as we can, and no bad habits. That's a blessing too, because people
Sure.
don't realize that, man.
No,
The
no
young
time
people
for
think
that.
that they're bulletproof, and I'm here to tell you that what you do early in your life is you're going to wish one day you had taken better care of yourself if you didn't. And that's one of the reasons I think why for the most part, I'm in pretty good shape and stay healthy after all these years, because I didn't do things that would harm my body and my mind when I was younger. So,
Well, yeah,
um,
look at COVID. How many tours that derailed? One
oh,
person
absolutely.
tests positive, they got to shut the
Yep.
tour down. You can't have that spread around the entire crew and
100% right.
to the fans and all that. But yeah,
Yep.
I mean, paying tribute again to our long lost friend Robin Crosby. I'm sure a younger Robin would have said, "Man, I should
Yeah.
have taken care of myself, man." All that crazy
Absolutely.
partying. What did it get me? I lost all my money, I lost all my looks, lost my hair and shit. I'm buried or cremated somewhere now, and it's I know Stephen Piercy always talks about that. Everybody's like, well, when's the Rat reunion? He said, well, we really can't reunite. I mean, even if
Right.
the living members got together, we're still missing somebody that was important to us. So,
Absolutely.
it's crazy. But yeah, I again, I'm right up the street from where you were back in the day at the Universal Sheraton or the Universal
Hmm.
Hilton. I remember they had the Foundations Forum for a while out here at the Burbank
Oh,
Marriott,
yeah.
which was right across the street from the Burbank Hollywood Airport.
That was crazy, huh?
Oh,
Think about that. How many bands and people in the industry were there for those things? I
yeah.
mean,
Talk
it was
about
wild. We were
drinking, man.
playing.
Everybody act like it was a license to get lit and get crazy. Yeah.
But it was so many. I mean, we played with Ozzy and Soundgarden and I think Bang Tango, all different types of bands. And I did artist panel with Michael McKean from Spinal Tap
Oh
and
wow.
Saturday Night Live. Lenny and Squiggy guy, him and Nico
What was
McBrain.
his character's name? David St. Hubbins? Was that who it is?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
sat between him and Nico McBrain on
Oh
the
man.
artist panel, and I'm like, this
You
is
know, you
pretty
know
cool.
they're making a Spinal Tap sequel right now, so
I heard. Yep,
you got
yep.
something
I
to look
heard.
forward to, man.
But there was so much going on there, and that was in '92. So our Poetic Justice album was coming out, and that so was Nirvana. Nevermind. And so everybody kept talking about, oh, this grunge thing's getting ready to take over everything, and they were right. But at the same token, there was thousands of these hard rock bands, and it was weird because Soundgarden was playing there too.
Yeah.
But It was a weird time, man. It was really cool, and it's a shame that we don't have things like that anymore. A lot of people don't
It was
realize
that's
how the
why I love
music
doing
scene
these
used to be.
interviews, man. We capture
Yeah.
a moment in time, and people look back like, oh man, that's something that'll never happen again. You know, there'll
Well,
never be
I'm gonna tell you
those.
something else. Like I'm gonna tell you this too. And I'm not venting, but I will bring up a point.
Yeah,
Like like you're celebrating type of music we all grew up with. The
yeah,
music hasn't gone anywhere. A lot of these bands from that era are still out there. We don't get the
sure.
support that we used to have. We don't get that. And not just, I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about from press, from TV,
Yeah,
from radio, and but sometimes I hear these podcasters and all they do is talk about the negative things. Oh, these bands, yeah, we listen to music, but they're not, they can't do this anymore. They're not drawing this, and these kind of rock bands aren't. I don't want to hear that. I want you to talk about how great the music is, and bands that are coming out from that era are been around for all these years, and they're coming out with new records.
yeah.
Support that music. Play that music.
Oh yeah,
Stop playing the same songs, only songs that they played, you know, 40 that they did 40 years ago. So let's celebrate the new stuff because there's a lot of bands that started out in the 80s and 90s that are still doing good music, but they
yeah.
don't get a shot with it,
You
So
you look at a band like
um
Cheap Trick; they're still making new records.
yeah,
They've
but you never
been
hear
around
any
since the
nobody. Yeah, all they want to hear is surrender and I want you to want me, which is great, but hey, these guys are putting out great new music
yeah.
too. So I just wish there was a way, an avenue. I can't believe nobody has come up with another similar equivalent to MTV when it was so successful. Why not do that again then? Has nobody even thought about that? Everybody loves music videos. Why you can't find a format for that? You can't find a way. I mean, you have uh, reality shows. This is a show about a guy, and we're gonna see how he digs holes in his backyard every day for a year. You can
Yeah.
have that, the most boring, mundane reality shows, but we can't get a show that plays music videos anymore. I mean, I just don't get it because everybody's doing videos still. We've got a brand new
Yeah.
one coming out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I know
Everybody's
they're
putting out
they're all on
videos.
YouTube, and I hear some people say, "Well,
Yeah,
it's a licensing issue for us to package this. We got to clear all this." And people don't have attention span. They're not going to sit there and go through 10 videos at a time. I mean, it's you hear
yeah,
the
that's all
reasons why they
excuses.
don't.
That's excuses. Let me tell you. You know how many record companies would give their left arm for somebody to play the videos from their artists to promote their record sales? I mean, come on,
Yeah,
give me a break. That's a cop
we're
out.
we're working on something right now, man. We'd love to make that happen, but. Always great to catch up with you. It's the one and only Steve Blaze, Lillian Acts. Go support them. Check them out online. Get their new music. They've repackaged all the old music, and man, they're
Yeah, we got
always
two
working on
box
something
sets,
new.
and we
There you
start
go.
recording the next album in July. That'll be
Okay.
out the beginning of next year, 2025.
I love it. Steve, always a pleasure. I know you're one of the hardest working men in the business. You got baseball, you got football coming up, you got music, you got box sets. Do your thing, man.
I'm trying.
Hopefully,
Hey, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my
hopefully,
friend.
hopefully your son hits a grand slam, man. We're rooting for you.
You got it. Thank you, brother. Good to
All
see you.
right, brother. Thanks so much.